So, design principles. If we think about a structure of an ad, 4 things need to be included. Doesn't matter what the industry is. We need to make sure we have a logo so the client, so the user knows what business is being advertised. That's kind of an obvious one. We need a value proposition. Why is it relevant? Or, Bob, what's your acronym?
What's in it for them?
WIFM. What's in it for the user? Visual representation of what we're selling. So if we're talking about mowers, there should probably be a mower in the picture, and or maybe stripes of the grass after a perfect mow. Something to tie it to that mower sale. And 4, call to action. Give some sense of urgency. Is it a sale for this weekend? Is it a seasonal ad? Is there currently 10% off through the end of the month? What's that value proposition to the consumer? Simplicity. This is, I think, in my opinion, the easiest thing to overlook and also sometimes the hardest thing to execute, and that is simplicity of message. You're not going to fit the client's story into an ad. Brian's gone through this the last 48 hours. You can't tell a story in a box this big. You just can't. Heck, it's hard to tell a story sometimes in a 30-second commercial, let alone an ad on screen. Simplicity works better than a lot of detail. Frame the image, meaning for any Teresa can give you guys more specifics on what I mean by the rule of thirds. It's an old photography. Actually, that's wrong. Sorry. Teresa's going to kill me. Hold on.
I was going to say, I can count.
So here's an image, right? If you have your hero lawnmower, are you going to stick the lawnmower right here in the middle of the screen? A lot of research has been done that quadrants of offsets as the focal point of your ad will really drive the eye to look at the image. Anything you want to add, Teresa? What am I missing?
No, that's exactly what I would have said.
Okay, I'm going back to 9th grade photography class there. Strong imagery, make it useful to the experience. Cohesiveness, you guys have heard me talk about this. And this is why sending your landing page to the designer will help. We want it to be cohesive between what they see and the brand they see on the ad. And when they click and go to the page, we don't want the user thinking, am I on the wrong page? They're talking about a mower, and I'm on a page about fertilizer, right? So it's contextually relevant, but it's also the brand and the offer being relevant. A sense of urgency, tailoring the message to the target audience, and then test, measure, and improve. Listen, none of us are going to get the perfect creative to sell 1,000 widgets for every client every single time. It's just not going to happen. But what we can always do is test, measure, and improve. We make 2 different creatives for the same goal, and we see which one works the best. We can measure that in real time and give that client feedback, right? That's one of those reminders we can set for ourselves. 7 days in the campaign, we get online, we look at the data. Wow, the red mower is doing better than the black mower. Let's move it to the red mower. Fertilizer is getting more interaction than the mower. Let's move more messages to the fertilizer if the client approves, right? I'm not going to show you all of these URLs, but I do encourage you guys at your leisure, or frankly, the way I use them, inspiration. These 4 URLs I really like. Moat. You can go in and search for a industry. So you could go to Moat and type in lawnmower. It's going to give you like 50 examples of lawnmower ads nationally. Now, the brand might not match your client, the offer might not match your client, but you might see a creative concept of, a close-up image of the mower just past where it mowed with the stripe that looks pretty. That looks great. I wonder if I can recreate something like that. Use these URLs as creative inspiration. We also have a bunch of in-house examples on the G Drive that we've created in-house, and they're sorted by client. Okay. All of those are good examples in terms of design principles. Moat's my favorite purely from an inspiration perspective. Client comes to you and say, "Hey, I want to focus my April ads on pet boarding. Send me an idea." And you're like, "Well, how do I market pet boarding?" You might go to Moat, type in pet daycare or pet grooming, and you'll see some ideas. Might get inspired. So let's look through some examples. Before I offer anything in terms of feedback, what do we not really like about this orange ad right here? What don't we think is a great use of space there?
Background kind of overwhelms, frankly, the message and their logo.
I would agree that it overwhelms the logo without question. I would say those are contrasting colors. Teresa.
I would say that the financial center and the no closing costs really compete with each other. There's no focus.
I would agree with that as well.
The copy's too small for the apply for.
Copy too small. That's a big one. Those are you, Todd?
It doesn't really tell you what they're selling or what they're doing.
Bingo. At the end of the day, you have to know what that brand is to know that they are a credit union and to know that they specialize in home loans. You don't really get that if you don't know anything about Financial Center. All good points. What isn't the greatest? What's some of the things we might change about this Oktoberfest for Indy 11?
Pretty much everything. It's so busy. You don't know what's going on there. You can't fit your logos in the ad.
I would say very busy is the first thing
You
that comes to
really
mind.
don't know it's soccer unless you look at the little Cosmos sign.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think their call to action, buy a ticket, is way too small compared to everything else.
So we got about 30 comments, so pretty much everything.
Okay, so there you go.
I would argue that you get lost in what they're trying to accomplish as a theme. I would argue you don't really know easily what they're trying to sell. Are we talking about beer and Oktoberfest or tickets? Is there a relationship? And frankly, that use of Oktoberfest over the images is hard to read.
Was that really put out?
That's what
Oh
I
yeah,
would say.
these are all real ads. These are all real ads. Do I even need to go through why this one's terrible? Okay. Let's concentrate on the good ads. Let's look at FC Tucker up. Sorry?
Can you please explain that one?
You should have that disclaimer on the URL when you go.
Yeah, explain that one right there.
Guys, what do we like about the top yellow ad, FC Tucker?
Plain simple.
Yeah.
Plain
Very concise.
and simple.
Kiss, keep it simple, stupid.
Plain and simple. Now, if their logo wasn't clearly something about real estate and a yard sign, you might argue you don't know it's real estate if you didn't know FC Tucker. But in their case, they can kind of get away with it. What about far left ad up top?
Bonus, dude. You see gift card bonus. I mean,
You know,
free shit. People like free stuff.
super, super clear value proposition. Spend $50, you're going to get $60 in value. Very, very succinct message.
Although if you don't know who Cunningham is,
That's
you
fair.
have no clue who that's for.
That's fair.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
That's a
most
good
people
point.
know the restaurants and not Cunningham.
That's a really good point, Greg.
But
It-
that could also be clickbait. You know, by not knowing, you're gonna click.
That's a good point too. What about Cathedral?
It's just
Urgency. Urgency. So clear, concise. There's a clear message. Not too busy. Not too small of text. A strong image, a strong brand in each of those top 4 examples. Let's.
Before we, sorry, I have a question. So, but what do you do if it's a complicated message? We're like, you know, it's hard sometimes.
It is.
We've talked about Newflow. Okay, they are kind of plumbing. They help you with your sewer pipes. They have custom technology. Like, that's one where I've personally struggled over the years of trying to help find a concise message. what's the best thing to do? Is it to talk to the creative team? Is it to what's
So when you have a really difficult message to get across, one that either is a longer story or it's a complicated value proposition for the user, the homeowner, the first thing we need to do is try to segment the message. If we really need to make multiple points, we need to segment it down. Maybe we have to create multiple creatives and let that story be told through multiple creative, not just one. Second thing to maybe think about is ensuring we have a really strong image to go with copy so that it helps tell the story without having to literally write it. Okay? Thirdly, you might think about strategically what products do I have that have the most space and or the most length of time to tell what that story is. You might think about video creative versus display, or social where we have more ability to do like carousel ads or bigger and wider ads. But to Caitlin's point, it's not a one size fits all. We need to, and I'm here to help. Creative Services is here to help. Bob, Chris, everyone has background. To employ and embody the challenge is part of the gig, right? And breaking that down is really the first step. If we know it's a complicated message, how do I segment this down into 2 creatives or three messages?
Can I just say something real quick?
Please.
Because I faced that with Gutter Helmet. It's like, well, what is it and why? You know, there's 8 million gutter companies out here. It's been really helpful to animate. So when I send in my creative, I like put spaces in between, so that if they got their 40-year anniversary and they want their slogan, "Never clean your gutters again," and then they've got an offer, so that you're getting more across, but still just coming really quick. And then the larger ad where you put more copy, using that to tell their story, and then also, as you said, other products.
I would to follow up on what Carolyn's saying, because she's touching on a theme she hasn't said, but she's saying it. You don't have to use the same message in every single ad size, and frankly, usually you shouldn't. You can't fit the same amount of stuff here as you can over here, right? It's just common sense. And the second thing Carolyn just said is the use of animation. Providing a GIF meaning here's slide A and it says buy your mower, then it flips 10% off through April 31st. Can also draw the eye to the page because it's movement, but also gets more of a story away than doing this with 16 different lines of text. So the use of a GIF image is often a good trick, especially on the smaller mobile sizes.
If I could just add one more thing, when we first went into COVID, it was right when they launched, and no contact was really important. So that was like their third thing. They wanted to make sure everybody knew, but they didn't want to have it take up away from why they were advertising.